My name is Daniel Cross. I'm 36 years old, and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a freelance brand designer. I've built over 30 different businesses from scratch. Some went on to become million-dollar ventures, but none of them stung like the one I gave away for free. Not because I was naive, not because I lacked talent, but because I believed in someone who saw me as nothing more than a stepping stone. I've worked with corporate clients, authors, influencers, even small-town coffee shops. I love creating brands that mean something. Logos, taglines, color palettes, that's my art. But this story isn't about a client. It's about Tessa. Tessa Morgan. She was 29, full of ideas, ambition, and charm. I met her at a tech mixer downtown. She was pitching a wellness startup that had no website, no logo, no name, just energy. I was intrigued. She had passion, and I had experience. She asked me for help with a brand name. That's how it started. A 2-hour chat at a noisy cafe. By the end of it, I'd not only come up with a name, I'd sketched out a logo, tagline, and visual direction. It was just a fun challenge to me. Nothing official. No contract. No money exchanged. Just helping someone build their dream. She said, "I couldn't have done this without you." I believed her. What I didn't know was, that same night, she bought the domain, created the Instagram handle, and started telling people it was her vision. Her idea. Her baby. At the time, I brushed it off. I didn't care about credit. I wasn't looking to own anything. We started seeing each other, dinners, creative brainstorms, sleepovers that turned into pitch sessions. I thought we were building something together, personally and professionally. Then came the viral moment. A fitness influencer reposted one of her videos. Overnight, the brand exploded. Orders started flooding in. She got featured in a local business magazine. They called her a one-woman brand genius. I smiled. I was proud. That is, until I read the quote. This was my vision from the start. I had no help. Just grit. I remember staring at that line for minutes. Then hours. Then weeks. But I still said nothing. Not even when she stopped introducing me as her boyfriend. Now I was just a friend who supports her work. She even stopped inviting me to shoots, even though I built the entire aesthetic. And still, I stayed quiet. Until the day she went on national TV. Talked about how she created everything herself, and casually mentioned that the man who helped her get started was just a kind, silent supporter. That's when I opened the drawer in my desk. Inside it was a single sheet of paper. Signed. Sealed. Legally binding. The federal trademark certificate with my name on it. She used me to launch her empire. But what she didn't know is that I owned the foundation beneath it. And I was done staying silent. When I first met Tessa, I wasn't looking for a relationship. Honestly, I wasn't even looking for a project. I was at that stage in life where you're more focused on peace than passion. But there was something about her, an energy that pulled you in before you had time to put up a wall. She was passionate, loud, unapologetically confident. The kind of woman who could walk into a room full of strangers and somehow make everyone feel like they already knew her. I was the opposite. Quiet, strategic. I speak best through design, pixels, shapes, colors. But she made me feel seen. And that mattered. After that first cafe meeting, we started texting. Then long calls. Then meetings turned into dinners. Within a few weeks, she was spending more time at my apartment than her own. I had a small studio office next to my bedroom, and that became our creative lab. We'd spend late nights brainstorming, her pacing back and forth throwing out wild ideas, me sketching on my Wacom tablet trying to give them form. Sometimes she'd fall asleep on the couch while I was still exporting logo files. It felt like magic. I didn't charge her a single dime. I didn't even think about it. I was falling for her, and I thought we were building something real. I helped her name the brand Verdura. It was a mix of verde, green, and adora to adore. It sounded natural, clean, luxurious. She lit up when I said it. Told me it was perfect, so elegant, so fresh. We bought the domain together. Set up the Shopify store. Even tested packaging designs in my kitchen using mock-ups I printed myself. She'd kiss me on the cheek and say, "You're my secret weapon. No one else gets me like you do." It wasn't just work. It was us. I started thinking this could be the real thing. Love, partnership, maybe even a family one day. She'd sit in my lap while editing Instagram captions. We made a ritual of Sunday night strategy meetings with wine and pasta. She loved playing the face of the brand, and I didn't mind staying behind the scenes. I thought that's how partnerships worked. But there were moments, small ones, where things didn't feel quite right. Like the time a reporter reached out to do a story about our creative process. I asked if we'd do the interview together. She said, "It's better if they see a strong solo female founder. You know how media works." I understood. At least I tried to. Then there was the time she got invited to a private business dinner and told me she'd rather I didn't come. Said it was investor stuff and I'd be bored. But that night, she posted a picture, clinking glasses with 3 men in suits. Caption: "To the dream team behind Verdura." I wasn't in the photo. I wasn't even mentioned. Still, I told myself not to overthink it. I've never been insecure. I've always believed people should have space, especially when chasing something big. I thought, this is her moment. Let her shine. But the moments added up. And something about her started to change. At first, she used to ask for my input on everything, product names, ad copy, even packaging colors. But slowly, the questions stopped. Decisions were made without me. She'd say things like, "I've got it handled now. You've done enough already." And the way she said already, like I was a phase she had outgrown. She used to call me her hero. Then one day, she stopped. No reason. No fight. No conversation. Just silence, where warmth used to be. One night, she came over late. Dropped her bag. Didn't hug me. Didn't even take off her shoes. She just looked exhausted, not physically, but emotionally distant. I asked if everything was okay. She said, "I'm just overwhelmed. There's so much pressure now. I'm trying to keep everything perfect." I told her I was proud of her, that I'd always be here. She gave me a half smile and said, "You're sweet, Daniel. You always were." That line stuck with me. You always were. Like I was something old, familiar, irrelevant now. Still I stayed. Still I worked. Still I loved her. But somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "This isn't a partnership anymore. It's a performance. And you're no longer in the cast." Things didn't fall apart overnight. They cracked slowly, quietly, like a porcelain cup with a hairline fracture, still useful, still holding everything together, until one day the weight becomes too much. At first, it was her phone. She used to leave it everywhere, on the counter, the couch, the bed. But now, it was always in her hand, or face down. on silent, with new passwords. She stopped laughing at memes we used to send each other. Stopped showing me her DMs, even though it used to be our little ritual. One night, her phone lit up at 2:07 a.m. I wasn't trying to snoop. I was just awake. I saw the screen flash. "Let's keep this between us." No name. Just that message. She stood next to me, snatched the phone without looking at me, and mumbled, "Just spam. Go back to sleep." I didn't ask. I didn't accuse. I just started paying attention. The next week, she said she had to go to a networking retreat. 2 days in Sedona. No Wi-Fi. No phone calls. Just business bonding. She didn't invite me. Said it was founders only. So I nodded. Wished her well. Then watched her Instagram story get updated from a fancy dinner. 3 women, 2 men, expensive wine. One of the men had his arm around her. She deleted it 5 minutes later. Still, I said nothing. The day she returned, she brought back an expensive leather bag. Said it was a gift from the hotel. It had a monogram on it. Not hers. That night, I opened the Verdura website to check on the product listings. I still managed the back end. And I noticed something strange. The logo had been slightly altered. The color palette was different. The product names, all of them, had changed from the ones we brainstormed. It felt like watching someone repaint the house you built, while pretending you never laid a single brick. I opened my design files. Compared my original work to the new site. Same layout. Same structure. Just reskinned, just enough to call it hers. It hit me like a cold wind through an open window. She wasn't erasing my work. She was replacing me. Bit by bit. Silently. Systematically. A few days later, a mutual friend, someone who didn't even know what was going on, sent me a link to a podcast episode. How I Built Verdura with Tessa Morgan. I hit play. The first 15 minutes were innocent enough. She told her story, talked about her mission, the brand vision, her struggles. Then, I started this brand with nothing. No help. Just grit, focus, and a little stubbornness. No help. I sat there staring at my monitor, open tabs filled with logo drafts, invoice templates, ad designs, all with Verdura written across them in my handwriting. She didn't even mention me once. Not as a partner. Not as a designer. Not even as a footnote. I felt something inside me go numb. I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. I just opened a folder on my desktop called Verdura Initial Assets. Inside it, our original concept sketches. Screenshots of texts where she said, "I couldn't do this without you." A dated photo of her holding the first printed packaging, with my handwritten label still visible. And at the very bottom, a scanned copy of the trademark certificate, filed 8 months ago. By me. In my name. Back then, I did it just to protect us. She said legal stuff stressed her out. I said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." I never expected it to matter. I certainly never expected to use it. But now it was the only thing tying my name to the brand she was pretending to have created from thin air. I wanted to confront her. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. Instead, I made backups. Printed records. Took screenshots of every page on her site. Every social post where she claimed solo credit. And I waited. Because when someone builds an empire on lies, you don't knock it down with anger. You wait for the perfect moment and take out the foundation. It all came crashing down one Wednesday morning. I was sitting in my home office, sipping cold coffee, trying to ignore the knot in my chest, when I got an email. The subject line hit me like a punch in the ribs. Copyright infringement notice, immediate action required. At first, I thought it was spam. But the sender was legit, a lawyer representing Verdura, claiming I was misusing protected brand assets on my personal design portfolio. They said my site was featuring proprietary logos, packaging, and brand direction that I had no right to showcase, even though I created every pixel of it. I sat there, reading it over and over. She didn't just want credit. She didn't just want distance. She wanted to erase me completely. I picked up the phone. Called her. She didn't answer. I texted, "Did you seriously just file a takedown against me?" No reply. 2 hours later, I got a response. Not from her, but from her new brand manager. A stranger. All official inquiries regarding Verdura IP should go through our legal team. Please refrain from contacting Ms. Morgan directly. Ms. Morgan. Like I was some random troll from the internet. Like I hadn't spent the last year building the very empire she now stood on. That was it. That was the snap. I closed the email. Sat in silence. No rage. No tears. Just a quiet decision. I walked over to my filing cabinet. Pulled out the original trademark registration. It was still there, crisp, clean, official. Signed by me. Approved by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Verdura, in my name. Filed long before she ever made a single sale. I had every design file. Every invoice showing I paid for the original website. Every screenshot of her thanking me. This brand is as much yours as it is mine. She thought I'd roll over. That I'd get scared. That I'd disappear quietly while she rewrote the story. But she forgot something. I'm not just a designer. I'm a strategist. I've helped companies fight billion-dollar lawsuits. And I'd been keeping receipts since day one, not out of paranoia, but out of principle. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up printing everything. Emails, texts, drafts, voice memos, podcast quotes. Every moment she leaned on me, before she pulled the knife. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I started planning. Because she didn't just steal credit. She tried to steal my name. My work. My legacy. And I don't let people take what I built, especially when I built it with love. That was the night Daniel Cross died quietly. And the man who filed Verdura woke up with a purpose. Planning revenge isn't about shouting. It's about timing. It's about control. And most of all, it's about proof. That same week, I made 3 phone calls. First, to my lawyer, Ashley Monroe. A woman who once helped me shut down a $300,000 counterfeit merch operation for one of my clients. I told her everything. Sent her the trademark certificate, the email threats, the design files, the podcast link, even the text where Tessa said, "You're the real brain behind Verdura." Ashley didn't hesitate. She said, "Daniel, this isn't just unethical, it's illegal. She's trying to bury the creator of a legally protected brand." Second call, to an old friend, Marcus. He works in PR damage control. The guy who knows how to leak information without ever leaving fingerprints. I asked him, if I wanted the world to know the truth without it sounding like a bitter ex, how would we do it? His reply? Quietly. Factually. No emotion. Let her lies collapse under their own weight. And the third call? To myself. I recorded a message. Just audio. Something for me to listen to if I ever felt weak. She took everything from you. But what she forgot is that you still own the name, the brand, the truth. You gave her the house, but you kept the land. From there, the work began. Every night, I compiled a reclamation folder, 7 gigabytes of neatly organized evidence, logo drafts with timestamp metadata, emails where she approved my design directions, a Dropbox link showing the day I registered the trademark, payment receipts for hosting, photography, ads, all under my account, screenshots of text saying, "Can you make the label more eco-luxury?" And then the ace. A voice note she once sent me late at night, laughing, saying, "If this brand ever blows up, I'll probably pretend I did it all myself. That's what the press loves. A self-made woman, right?" She laughed. I didn't. I submitted everything to Ashley. Within days, a cease and desist package was drafted and delivered via certified mail, not to her house, but to her brand's investor office. We didn't aim for her inbox. We aimed for her money. Once the investors got wind that the trademark was filed under my name, not hers, and that she was lying in legal documentation, things moved fast. Ashley filed a formal cease and desist against the use of the name, Verdura, in all marketing, commerce, and public material until rightful ownership was resolved. Then, I quietly leaked the podcast quote. Just one clip. Tessa saying, "I built Verdura alone. No help." And beneath it, I posted a simple screenshot. Memo trademark owner, Daniel Cross. Calendar filed, 8 months before Verdura's launch. No hashtags. No tags. No drama. Just facts. It spread like wildfire. Design blogs picked it up. Business Twitter started discussing brand theft. Reddit lit up with threads. "Is Tessa Morgan a fraud?" She stayed silent at first. Then she posted a long notes app apology, carefully worded, passive, full of fluff. "While I deeply appreciate everyone who has contributed to my journey, the legal misunderstandings around branding and creative ownership are being resolved privately." No acknowledgement. No name. No truth. And that's when I hit back. I sent one final message. Not to her. To her lead investor. I attached the design proof, the receipts, the trademark, and ended with a single sentence. "Would you continue funding a brand whose entire identity is built on stolen work and false public claims?" 3 days later, the investor pulled out. Verdura's site went offline. All pending orders were refunded. And Tessa? She reached out to me. Finally, after months, a voicemail. Shaky voice. "Daniel, please call me. We need to talk. I didn't mean for it to go this far." But I didn't call back. I didn't need closure. I had proof. I had peace. And I had my name. The courtroom was small, clean, neutral. Rows of cold chairs. A quiet hum of lawyers flipping through folders. Judges going through motions like it was just another Wednesday. But for me, this was the war. Not with guns. Not with fists. With truth. With receipts. I sat at the plaintiff's table, dressed sharp, quiet, collected. My lawyer, Ashley, was already organizing our exhibits with that confident calm only a seasoned professional carries. Tessa walked in 5 minutes late, wearing a white blazer, minimal makeup, trying to look pure, like a misunderstood startup founder instead of a brand thief. She didn't look at me. She didn't even glance my way. But I looked at her, and I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen in months. Fear. She sat down next to her lawyer. Whispers. Fidgeting. Forced calm. The judge reviewed our documentation. Ashley stood up and began with a clear, sharp opening. Your Honor, this case is simple. The defendant has built a commercial brand on a trademark she does not own, using assets she did not create, while erasing the actual legal owner from all credit, communication, and revenue. Then she laid it out, exhibit by exhibit. A dated screenshot of the Verdura trademark, with my name. A Dropbox download log showing she accessed files tied to my account. Voice messages where she approved my designs. Emails titled, Final Logo V3, from Daniel. The podcast clip where she boldly claimed, No one helped me. Her lawyer tried to pivot. Said it was a misunderstanding between partners. That the lines were blurred, that we had a personal relationship, and that credit was implied. Ashley responded with a single sentence. Then why did she file a copyright strike against the designer who created her brand? The room went quiet. The judge looked through the packet of papers, line by line, page by page. Then came the moment I'll never forget. Ashley clicked play on the audio file. That voice note, the one she sent laughing months ago saying, If this brand ever blows up, I'll probably pretend I did it all myself. That's what the press loves. A self-made woman, right? The courtroom didn't laugh. The judge didn't blink. Even her own lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Tessa finally spoke. Her voice was trembling. I didn't mean it like that. We were joking. I was under pressure. I thought... The judge cut her off. You thought wrong. This isn't a personal issue. This is intellectual property theft. The trademark is valid. The branding assets are protected. And you knowingly filed legal claims against the rightful owner. Verdict. Immediate cease and desist on all Verdura branding. Public acknowledgement of creative ownership. Damages, not massive, but symbolic. $50,000 in lost design and licensing fees. Enough to sting. Enough to make headlines. And most importantly, the name, Verdura, was ordered to be transferred back to me. Tessa froze. Her lawyer leaned in, whispering frantically. But it was over. I walked out of that courtroom not smiling. Not smug. Just still. Like someone who finally put down the weight of a year-long betrayal. Outside, a reporter was waiting. She asked, Daniel, anything you'd like to say to your followers? To aspiring creators? I looked into the camera and said, Protect your work. Paperwork over promises. Silence is a choice until it becomes your power. Back home, I opened my laptop. Logged into the back end of the Verdura site. She hadn't taken it down, just left it blank. So I wrote one line at the top of the homepage. This brand was built by a designer who loved and got burned. But the truth always has a longer shelf life than any lie. Then I shut the laptop. Not out of anger. Not out of grief. Out of closure. Because I wasn't just her ex. I wasn't just her silent helper. I was the man who gave her a brand and took it back with dignity. It's been 8 months since the courtroom. 8 months since the truth came out. Since I finally exhaled. The brand, Verdura, is no longer online. I never relaunched it. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life living in the shadow of what she stole. Instead, I built something new. Something smaller. Something cleaner. It's called Origin and Form, a design consultancy I run solo, quietly, from a small studio near the lake. No social media team. No influencers. No fake stories. Just honest work for honest people. And the clients who find me now? They come because of what happened. Because they heard the story. Because they want their vision protected by someone who's already lived through what they fear most. Strangely, her betrayal became the most powerful part of my portfolio. I still think about her sometimes. Not in anger. Not in longing. Just as a chapter. A lesson. A mirror I didn't know I needed. She taught me that love without respect is just decoration. That talent without credit is exploitation. And that silence, while noble, can also be dangerous. For a long time, I blamed myself. I thought, maybe I should have spoken up sooner. Maybe I was too trusting. Maybe I didn't ask for enough. But the truth is, I gave her everything I had. My time. My talent. My trust. What she did with it is on her. Now, when I design something, I sign every project. Not out of ego, but out of self-respect. Because I've learned that people will take what you don't defend. And the hardest part of creating something isn't the work. It's making sure no one rewrites your name out of it. Sometimes people ask, "Do you regret helping her?" No. I regret believing she saw me the way I saw her. But helping someone dream bigger, that's never something I'll apologize for. She took everything, except my soul. And from that, I rebuilt. Not for her. Not for revenge. But for me. If you've ever been used, overlooked, or erased, just remember. Your name still matters. Your work still matters. And the truth, even buried, always finds its way back to the surface. Don't stop building. Just build smarter.